My friends, when I just sat down to see, which I do so often, is there anything today, anything that wants to be spoken? And then I got this like kicking the matrix habit or the matrix addiction. And I thought, that sounds interesting. So, of course, I'm curious what's going to come out of my mouth today. But it's going to be about the matrix, our dear friend who has been occupying our mind our whole life unless we take a break from it and meditate and get still inside. As soon as we don't, the mind, the matrix, the crazy stuff going on is doing its thing more certain times than others. So, can we kick the habit? Can we kick that addiction to the matrix? So let's see, what is the matrix? It's definitely engaging in the good, bad, right, wrong, dark, light, them, us. It's the duality. How do we kick a habit that seems to surround us everywhere? Because everywhere we look and engage, there is duality. So, how do we kick the addiction or the habit to how we engage with it? So, the duality is here. That is what we have apparently chosen to be born into. For whatever reason, we may have different reasons, all of us. Some may want to just experience what it's like to pretend to be separate from God. And some may want to just see if there's a way out of this, while we are here. Can we get out of this maze? It feels like a maze too, right? Where you just, you run in circles, you don't get anywhere, you get stuck and you go backtrack and then you run into another wall. And then suddenly you have a breakthrough only to be followed by another closed door. So this running around in the matrix, this engaging with the matrix, I don't know if it's possible to not, unless we may just take, occupy a cave up in the Himalayas and just be in the stillness. And there are people who do that, and probably for very good reasons, to keep the frequency, to keep bringing in the stillness, the presence, the love, that frequency that most of us are not in touch with. So, how do we do it then? And what's coming to me as I speak, and I did speak some about it yesterday also, is that the habit or the addiction is to engage in it with an emotional attachment. So, can we live in the matrix, in this duality? Is it possible to live in it without being pulled in emotionally? Just think about that for a moment. Do you think that's possible for you? Or is the addiction to be right, to blame, to point fingers, to see everybody as other, and to feel that you're better than others, to feel that you're lesser than others? It's all this duality. And it is an addiction. And I'm not saying that as a, judgment or, making us feel bad or wrong. You're addicted to this, you should go to whatever, Matrix Anonymous or something. Maybe we should start one of those. Actually, that might be a fun idea. Would anybody like to start Matrix Anonymous? And then people can start letting go of their addictions, right? But the addiction is the way we engage in it. It's not the matrix itself. The matrix is just there, just like everything else is. But there is a hook, right? There is a hook to be pulled in and engage in it and get into this emotional stuff. And I know I talk about this all the time, and I don't think we can hear it often enough, because all our energy for most people on planet Earth is so identified with the matrix through the emotional, through the attachment, through the dramas. And it takes some time, it takes some effort and some willingness to free ourselves from it. Which which part of the emotional attachment is the biggest for you? Is it fear? And if you don't try and act on the fear to make sure you're safe all the time and make sure you do the right thing so that the world is safe, is it fear? Is it anger, where you're angry at other people because they don't see things the way that you do? Is it grief because your life is not unfolding the way you want it? There's been a lot of loss, a lot of sadness, and the addiction is to just keep feeding that. And as I'm saying that, I really want to make sure that this is not a judgment or criticism. This is simply the matrix that is being bombarded at us from every angle we can imagine all the time. We are right in it, just like a fish is in the water. We are in it. But now imagine the fish. If the fish is going to battle the water all the time, it's going to be exhausted, right? And it probably might lose the battle. But if the fish just go, okay, here's the water. I'm just going to swim through it. I'm just going to, enjoy what's in here and do my best to, really open to the beautiful experiences that are here. And if there's something I don't agree with, I can just, turn around and swim somewhere else. So maybe we can do the same. The matrix is here. All of us have a certain amount of addiction to it through our emotions. Would it be possible to take a breath and choose to not touch it with your emotions? This not touching, I've talked a lot about that also. It is the not touching it with our emotions. Because as soon as we touch it with our emotions, it's almost like, a suction cup. And then the emotions are activated, and that's an energy that is sucked back, we can say, to the matrix. That is how the matrix stays alive, through you and I engaging in our emotional attachments. I'm not saying to bypass your emotions, because then they're still there. But the invitation for all of us, and of course that includes myself, is to learn to flow with the emotions, be present with them from an open heart, from an open presence, without trying to fight it or fix it or get rid of it or believe it or get pulled in by it, but learn to just let it do its thing as we are connecting to the field, which is really what we already are. So the more we can practice, and it is a practice, the more we can practice to not touch whatever situation, it might be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. If we can practice not getting into the emotional attachment to it, and instead be present with it. So when I talk about being present with it, it's like, let's say you feel an emotion that's hard to be with, it could be anger, could be grief. So what you can do is just be curious about the emotion. Just like, oh, here it is. You just get curious. Where is it living in your body? And then try and take a breath into it. It's really like saying hello to it, so that there is the emotion and then there's you saying hello to it. There's you creating a space of presence or a space of allowing around it, instead of being in here battling with it or engaging in it. So you're stuck in it. So when you see it, you can say, oh, there's anger. Then you're already like, oh, there's you here, and then there's anger here. And then you can take another deep breath into the experience in your body. It's like an energetic experience. So breathe into it. And just notice what happens when you just breathe into it and say hello to it if you want. And then notice what happens. For the most part, something is going to relax a little bit, and you create a little more space to it. So now you're learning to be present with this without being like this. When you do being present with it, you are present. You are presence itself. You're connected to the presence, the field of presence. So that's a very different energy. That is not the matrix, you see. So you take out your attachment to the matrix and you just allow it to be there. You just let it be. And you may need help with that. It's not easy in the beginning. And it's not easy when there's really deep emotions in there that we have been attached with, that we have been identified with. So I'm not just saying, oh, just do it and it's gone. But it is a practice we all need to take on if we want to get out of the matrix, right? If you want to stay attached and addicted to the matrix, then don't do this. Then don't. It's a choice. But if you really want it, reach out to get help. This is something I love to do. This is something I've been trained to do. So reach out to learn how to get your energy out of this contraption. And then you learn to just be here. And then you can start paying more attention what is here. Because right now your energy is coming out of that lock. And so now you're here and you can see, oh, wow, there's anger here. And then you can do some deeper work. You can start listening to the anger. You can let it talk to you. You can learn from it. You can start releasing some of the reasons that the anger is there. And then the more you do that, the more you liberate your energy. And then you can start turning your attention to this energy, your presence, which is everywhere. That's the field I talk about. That's heaven on earth. The kingdom of heaven is spread all over the earth, and man cannot see it because man and woman is locked in here. So that's kind of the invitation. And since I got this title today, to break the addiction to the matrix, those are some very helpful steps to just start noticing what you're addicted to, what you're attached to. So if you want to break that habit or break that addiction, and then notice the feeling of the addiction, the feeling of the emotion that is agitated. Just take a step back and notice it. And then we can do deeper work with that. That's why I created something called the ALL formula, ALL formula. And those are 3 steps to move through that. And that something we can use over and over again as we just go through the layers. So apparently that's what wanted to be shared today about breaking the addiction to the matrix, kicking the habit of the matrix. First, we need to really be aware that we are fully identified with it, and that there is an addiction or an attachment to being it, to being that. And then we can move to the place where we can choose if we really want that. So that's the question for you today. Do you really want that? And if you do, go and enjoy the matrix. You can enjoy it as long as you want to. If you don't want it, then start, considering, what do you want? What do you really want?